Ooga bloody ooga assholes. It's your Lethal Sperg, John Peterson here, back with another Sperg Games. Woohoo! Tonight is February 21st, the time is currently 9:31 p.m., and we got a lot of news to cover, so let's just get right into this. Let's start with Jussie Smollett maintains his innocence after being accused of faking attacks, attorneys. Empire actor Jussie Smollett maintained his innocence after bonding out of jail yesterday afternoon, after being accused of staging an attack. In a statement, Smollett's attorney said the actor presumed presumption of innocence was trampled upon. TMZ reported that the actor apologized to the cast of the show after he was bonded out. TMZ said he addressed everyone on the set and said he was sorry for putting them through this situation. Smollett's attorneys released the following statement Thursday. Today we've witnessed an organized law system, law enforcement spectacle that had no place in the American legal system. The presumption of innocence, a bedrock in the search for justice, was trampled upon at the expense of Mr. Smollett and notably on the eve of a mayoral election. Mr. Smollett is a young man of impeccable character and integrity who fiercely and solemnly maintains his innocence and feels betrayed by a system that apparently wants to skip due process and proceed directly to sentencing. As authorities laid out in their case, the narrative emerged Thursday that it sounded like something of a filmmaker wrote, cast, directed, and starred in a short movie. Prosecutors say he gave detailed instructions to the accomplices who helped him stage a racist, anti-gay attack on himself, including telling them specific slurs to yell, urging them to shout MAGA country, and even pointing out a surveillance camera that he thought would record the beating. I believe Mr. Smollett wanted it on camera, Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson told reporters, but unfortunately, that particular camera wasn't pointed in that direction. Smollett, who was black and gay, turned himself in on charges that he filed a fake police report last month when he said that he was attacked in downtown Chicago by two masked men who hurled derogatory remarks and looped a rope around his neck. The actor took advantage of the pain and anger of racism to promote his career, Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson said. This publicity stunt was a scar that Chicago didn't earn and certainly didn't deserve. Kojin asks, "What's good, bro?" "Oh, I'm just going through a lot of news articles, dude." Kojin, I'm going through a lot of news articles, but don't worry. Don't go losing your head over this, bro. We will duel. I need you to take a chill pill and bear with me. And Arcadia says he's still claiming he's innocent. That takes some balls. I know what you were saying, Arcadia. I know what you were saying. But it's like Ben Shapiro said. Had this been two white guys that assaulted him, they would be calling for his head. They would be calling for the radical progressive leftards would be calling for the heads of those said white men. And Kojin says, "Good thing I don't watch Empire. You and I are on the same boat, man. So grab the poles, dude. We're going fishing." At Smollett's first court appearance, one of his attorneys, Jack Pryor, told the judge that the actor maintains those are outrageous allegations and denies they are true. Prosecutors released a 4-page document that outlined their case against Smollett, who plays a gay character on the show that follows a black family as they navigate the ups and downs of the recording industry. For the hoax, Smollett solicited the help of two muscular brothers, one of whom was Abel Uncerrado, a friend he had worked out with and who was on the show as a stand-in for another character. He also supplied Smollett with the drug ecstasy, prosecutors said. He probably needed someone. He needed someone with bulk, small instead of Smollett's decision to hire the pair. A few days before Osandaro and his brother Ola were scheduled to fly to Nigeria, Smollett sent him a text. The prosecutor said, "Set the scheme into motion. I might need your help on the low," he wrote his friend, according to the document. During a meeting with the brothers, Smollett said he wanted the attack to happen January 28th near his apartment at the city's Streeterville neighborhood. Now, before I move on with this article, and Kojin says, dude, are Mike and I the only good liberals you know, and possibly Big Ben? Look, I respect Benny. We butt heads in terms of storytelling on some occasions. But as a friend, I respect him. And Mike, well, again, we may butt heads, but in terms of storytelling, Mike is a dude who would always have my back 9 times out of 10. As for you, Kojin, well, again, you might be a total pain in the ass sometimes, but hey. Hey, you, Nephil, King, Mike, Benny, you guys, you're my boys. That's not the Lethal Sperg talking, that's yours truly talking. And he wanted them to get his attention by calling out slurs, prosecutors say. He then instructed them to put the rope around his neck, pour gasoline on him, and yell the MAGA remark, an apparent reference to President Donald Trump's slogan during the 2016 campaign. Smollett then gave one of the brothers $100 to buy the rope, ski masks, gloves, and red baseball caps that resembled those worn by Trump supporters. He drove them to the spot where he wanted the attack to take place, taking time to show them the camera that he said he would capture. Prosecutor said. He then drove them home, wrote a check to one of the brothers for $3,500, and flew to New York. The time of the attack was pushed back to 2 a.m. January 29, and yeah, you are my N-words. Yeah. Kojin, friggin' exactly, dude. You nailed that crap right on the bloody head. And before I continue with the articles and duels, if you want to support if you want to support the Lethal Sperg and not have Google take a chunk of my money, the link to my Streamlabs is always in the very informative description down below. Any amount helps to keep the Lethal Sperg going, to make sure free speech lives to fight socialism yet another day. Continuing with this article here. The brothers ordered an Uber ride to pick them up at their apartment and climbed out into the vehicle toting their supplies, including bleach, because it was a decision to use that instead of gasoline, according to the prosecutor's summary. Now, and I see Josh. What's good, my man? What is up, my boy? Wow, I am getting a who's who tonight. Man, the chat's looking like America's Most Wanted up in this biatch. FYI, I'm waiting for you on Dueling Book. Hee hee. Oh, don't worry, Kojin. Don't worry. I am getting to this. Please know that much of this, as I said, because Chicago is one of the world's most extensive video surveillance systems. Investigators, in effect, I'm just gonna shift the order up a smidge. I'm going to go through the duels with my boy Kojin, and then go through the articles. So sit tight, my boys. Hi. I took some time off of Twitter to watch your stream. Well, you have made the right choice, friend. Womp womp. Sad trombone noises. Hmm. Oh wait, that's level 7. Oops. Oh, Kojin, I would not want to be you right now, buddy. Hmm. Hmm. More lambs to the slaughter. What am I doing wrong? Yeah. Well, I don't know how many challenges I saw. Better not be any more of that gay crap, or else I'm gonna. Ugh. Mean something good. Yeah, I do have Slifer. As for what happened, I was busy minding my own business on Twitter talking about stuff when I said context please, and then suddenly friggin' Sunny Strike comes in like a thief in the frickin' night, says that should be on a t-shirt. I basically just did the Twitter equivalent of an own goal. Oh, and again, I also received, and if you've noticed on Twitter, everyone, well, I just got word from the gnome that AT&T has also joining removing their ads from YouTube videos. I'm gonna have to spice this up a little. Let's spice it up. And Josh says, and you remember about how I occasionally converse with Jamie Marchi? Oh my god. You basically talk with Junko Enoshima and Liv. You got stones, Josh. You got stones. I never imagined I would have to break out the stall Exodia. I hate that type of deck with a passion. Once I draw my Shoto, you are my boy. And that'll give me free reign. Sorry, Chief. Damage has already been done. Dirty little. Ugh. Damn it. I might as well just give the match to you if you want to play it. You know what? Forget it. Forget streaming. Forget the articles. I'm done. Screw everything. I'm probably just gonna end it all. Because of Kojin's inability to stop screwing me over at every turn. When I draw Exodia, you are gonna wish. You are gonna freaking wish you would never have been born, boy. You are a disgrace to the internet, you are a disgrace to humanity, and you are a disgrace to your frickin' father, Kojin. Forget it, Josh. I had everything all planned out. And this jerk completely ruined everything. If I didn't know any better, Kojin, I would say you're deliberately screwing me. God, this is frickin' AIDS. Can't wait till this duel's over, so I can actually read the articles and get on with my life. Ah, forget it. Screw it. I don't care. Frickin' forget it. Perfectly laid out strategy. Ruined by a Wakandan! I'm fuming at this point. You know what? Deep breaths, Johnny. Deep breaths. I am going to need to break out the head. Looks like I'm gonna need. Well, if you want something done right, leave it to the robots. Oh, sweet God, no! No, no, not again. Why do I get the feeling you're going to play that? I will murder you. God. Ugh. You promised you wouldn't do that to me, Kojin. I held you to that. To the letter. Jerk move, dude. Jerk move. And this is why we kneel for the anthem? Sorry, I would rather kneel with a shotgun barrel in my mouth before I pull the trigger. I'm sorry, but cards that have win conditions like Final Countdown, Exodia, and Destiny Board, I'm sorry, but those types of cards can burn in a fire for all I care. Those types of cards are the gayest I've seen in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I've seen some pretty gay crap from Kojin. Now, what if I did something like that to you? You wouldn't be laughing, would you? No. You would be crying and begging for me to end this. Ed Boon, you better do what this man says. Otherwise, I'm going to fly into a murder rage.
Yeah. John, get this scary guy out of here. Someone call security. Anything. Get this friggin' maniac out of here.
Yeah, let's just continue with all this news and journalisming. Anyway. Because Chicago has one of the most extensive video surveillance systems, investigators in effect pieced together the route the two men took my camera for from the scene, Johnson said. The encounter lasted about 45 seconds. The brothers, Johnson said, punched him a little bit. The scratches and bruises Smollett had on his face were most likely self-inflicted. When police arrived, he told them what happened and pointed out the nearby surveillance camera, prosecutors said at the court hearing. Smollett also tried to mislead police about the suspects, telling them that the area around one attacker's eyes was white skin, even though the brothers were black, prosecutors said. Johnson said Smollett used one of the most terrifying symbols of racial hatred, a noose. I'm warning you right frickin' now, people. My mom's knee.
Huh. Didn't know you had a thing for Spergs, Judy. But, I think it's best at this juncture if you take John's advice. He is, I don't know if there's any easy way for me to say this. Look, Julie, there's no easy way for me to say this, but everything that's been happening these past couple of hours has practically left John teetering at the brink. You know what? If we're gonna do this, I'm probably gonna need some soothing music. Thank God for Dave Wise. Thank God for that guy. Whatever the case, let's continue this crap. Alright. That is synonymous with lynchings during the Civil Rights Movement. I'm offended by what happened, and I'm also angry. And I don't blame Superintendent Johnson. Sorry, Kojin, I already picked my jam. By the time Smollett appeared on Good Morning America, police already had a pretty good idea he was lying, thanks to dozens of search warrants, subpoenas, and extensive analysis on the camera on its phone records. They also phone to Nigeria. Yeah. Nigeria. And was scheduled to return to Chicago on February 13th. That was last Wednesday. The men were arrested and charged for hours. At hour 47, 1 hour before the police either had to charge the men or release them. Listen, Kojin, buddy to buddy, I was the one who lost my cool first. I mean, I already said that my mom had a bad knee. And you bet your ass I'm gonna kill you in Dueling Book. I'm gonna straight up murder you with the deck I tried so hard to beat you with. Oh, you bet your ass I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you so many times, I'm gonna be sick of it! Breaking a promise you made to me, will you? Even I would stoop that frickin' low. Even a Sperg like me has morals. Ugh. It's crunch time! But first, I'm gonna need an appropriate jam. Perfect. What the hell? You brought this on yourself, Shinigami. I summon Jirak Monolith! I am my turn. Remember, I'm gonna beat you so bad, Jordy's gonna be calling me her kid's daddy. Perfect.
What's that I hear, Kojin? Is it my victory chariot? Oh, I'm not done with Kojin yet, Josh. I'm going to pick his bones clean. Way to go, Kojin. Way to frickin' go, man. You actually hurt me. You actually bloody hurt me, you absolute idiot. Good. Hopefully that'll get you back in John's good graces. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Y'all sit tight. I'll be right back. himself to the bloody bone. Might as well check Twitter for any dum-dums. What's happened? Keem, good save. Huh? Wait, what? Jamie Marchi actually liked the tweet I was mentioned in?
And I said, yeah, the thing about Josh, is he's got two brains. And the one in his Rias Grammary, Henry, heir to the Grammary clan, massive destructive powers. Kojin, you really don't get out much, do you? Well, we just checked Twitter, and, well, Jamie Marchi actually liked a tweet. Frickin' Rias likes John's humor.
Well, that's a thing that just happened. And today has been a roller coaster for me. Huh?
But seriously though, Josh, I think the one in John's pants must be taken over for the one in his head.
Hey, I don't give you any flack about treating your own kids like crap. What I take issue with was what you did to Kaede and Chiaki.
We harping on that?
Yep.
Look, the point I'm trying to make here is, John, he'd do anything for a woman. And I do mean anything. He is the prototypical gentleman. But anyway,
Let's do this. Johnson said the two confessed to what they have done. They were subsequently released without being charged. Prosecutors set and charged Smollett late Wednesday with felony disorderly conduct, a charge that is used for filing a false police report. He turned himself into police Thursday and was jailed until an afternoon court appearance. Smollett's attorneys asked that the actor be freed on his own recognition. But Cook County Judge John Fitzgerald Lyke Jr. rejected the idea. Lyke, who was also black, said he was bothered by the allegations involving the noose. The most vile and despicable part, if it's true, is the noose. That symbol conjures up so much evil in this country's history. The judge set Smollett's bond to $100,000, and the actor soon walked out of jail after posting the necessary $10,000. He declined to comment to reporters. Smollett is earning more than $100,000 per episode, according to a person familiar with the situation. The Postman spoke on condition of anonymity because salary details were involved. The studio declined to comment on the actor's salary. As is customary, and with a successful TV series, regular cast members on Empire received a boost in pay as part of contract extensions that followed the drama's renewal for a second season, the person said. Smollett is counted among series regulars. The companies that make Empire, 20th Century Fox and Entertainment and 20th Century Fox Television issued a statement yesterday. They were evaluating the situation and considering our options. Oh. Thank you, Kojin. Once again, you dodged a bullet, my friend. Now then, I will finish this article, but first, well, I think it's high time I get through this. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Milshodo. The contents are Lilith, Lady of Lament, Cup of Ace, Mashodo, Pot of Duality, Pot of Extravagance, Terraforming, Legacy of Yadagarasu, Metaverse, Present Card, Reckless Greed, Side Effects, The Gift of Greed, Trap Trick, Trickstar Reincarnation, and the extra contains Baby Tiragon, Ghost Trick Dullahan, Ghost Trick Alucard, Downed Magician, Muzurism the String Djinn, Mellow Melody the Brass Djinn, Melee of the Trees, number 49, Fortune Tune, number 82, Heartland Draco, number 63, Shamoji Soldier, Slacker Magician, an Archduke, Cat Shark, Madolchi Queen Tiramisu, and Madolchi Teacher Glass Awful. Thank you, Kojin. Again, it's like Monokuma said, I have been through the ringer these past couple of weeks. Anyway, let's finish this article before we move on to the next one. Smollett has been active in HBI issues, HBI being the equivalent to LGBTQ. And initial reports of the assault drew outrage and support for him on social media. Referring to a published account of the attack, Trump said last month, "It doesn't get any worse, as far as I am concerned." On Thursday, he tweeted to Smollett, "What is MAGA and the tens of millions of people you insulted with your racist? What about MAGA and the tens of millions of people you insulted with your racist and dangerous comments? Hashtag MAGA." Here's a little addendum to this. I already tackled this, but hey, it is what it is. Empire actor Jesse Smollett was charged with felony disorder. I already tackled all this crap, but not this. Actor Jesse Smollett will be removed from the final two. You know what? Yeah, let's get right into this juicy little nugget here. Syracuse coach Jim Boeheim strikes, kill pedestrian on highway. This is out of Syracuse, New York. Syracuse's men's basketball coach Jim Boeheim struck and killed a man walking on an interstate late Wednesday night, as he tried to avoid hitting the man's disabled vehicle, police said. Syracuse police says 51-year-old Jorge Jimenez has been in a car with 3 others before midnight on Wednesday when their vehicle crashed into a guardrail on I-690 in Syracuse. Boeheim struck Jimenez while trying to avoid the vehicle. Jimenez was taken to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead, police said. Boeheim, 74, is cooperating with the investigation. He stopped immediately and exited the vehicle, says Syracuse Sergeant Matthew Malinowski. Police say sobriety tests were administered to Boeheim and were negative for any signs of impairment. No tickets have been issued to Bowman at this time, and the investigation is continuing. A freezing rain has fallen earlier Wednesday night, though it is unclear if the weather had anything to do with the crash. There were no immediate comments from Syracuse University. Bowman has been coached at Syracuse for 43 years, winning a national title in 2003 and making 5 Final Four appearances. His team defeated Louisville 69-49 on Wednesday night during a home game. Now this little nugget is juicy. Trump says Alabama woman who joined ISIS should not return to the U.S. President Donald Trump said Wednesday that he directed Secretary of State Mike Pompeo not to allow Hoda Muthana, an Alabama woman who left in November of 2014 to join ISIS, to return to the United States, despite her recent public plea to come back to stand trial in America. I have instructed Secretary of State Pompeo, and he fully agrees not to let Hoda Muthana back into the country. Yeah. Again, man. I have been through the absolute ringer. Hours earlier, Pompeo declared that Muthana, who is detained in a Kurdish refugee camp, is not an American citizen. Ms. Hoda Odin is not a U.S. citizen and will not be admitted into the U.S. She does not have any legal basis, no valid U.S. passport, no right to a passport, nor any visa to travel to the United States. Muthana, now 24, was a college student when she traveled over to Syria 4 years ago to join ISIS, eventually marrying 3 fighters and calling for the killings of Americans on Twitter. You know what, Kojin? Let's get right into that. Now, I know Twitter is a lot like Walmart, people. Not everything is degenerate terrorist crap, but if that's what you're in the... But you know what? I think it's best if we let Mr. Paul...
back with more family-friendly content that's guaranteed not to get demonetized immediately upon upload.
But, you know what? I figured it's high time we I think it's high time we stop the blabbing and stop me running my mouth. And let Mr. Paul Joseph Watson talk.
Meet
Roll it.
Jemima Beggar. She left the UK in 2015 to become an ISIS poster girl, and now she wants to come back. I'm a jihadi, get me out of here.
I was hoping that maybe, for the sake of me and my child, they let me come.
Now, keep this in mind, people. She went from Alabama, which according to the far left manlets is, it's much like with middle America, is, according to these people, where people hunt for sport and screw their siblings, to a place with actual incest. And yes, Kojin, she ain't got no alibi. Man, let's
Come back.
Computer says no.
ISIS. Free housing and child benefits. ISIS don't pay child benefits.
I don't see why he would see.
And again, I would like to applaud Mr. Watson for giving everyone the short version of this story, but I'm gonna have to correct him on one thing. As a former journo myself, 2.5 years at a high school journalist thinking net you a lot of stuff, believe it or not. She was actually here in the US and went to Syria. I know, Kojin. I know. I just wanted to correct him. Continuing.
See me as a threat. I'm a 19-year-old girl with a newborn baby. I don't have any weapons. I don't want to hurt anyone, even if I did have weapons or anything.
Well, I hate to break it to you, sweetheart, but considering that you're with a known terrorist organization, all of the evidence is pointing directly to the contrary.
So he has no proof that I'm a threat. Other than that, I was in ISIS.
Bye.
Other than that, I was in ISIS. Other than that, I was in ISIS.
But no, she's got a point. We've all woken up one morning and wanted to just jump on a plane and go somewhere warmer. The fact that in the process of doing that, she chose to join an Islamic terror group that burns people alive in cages.
And decapitates journos, mind you. Ay. Oh my goodness.
Only racists and Islamophobes would see that as a threat.
I was in ISIS.
Yeah, spare me the sarcasm there, Watson. Because Detective Peterson, because I think I'm about ready to because I'm about ready to put my Sherlock Holmes hat on and get to work on solving this little mystery.
She said that seeing decapitated heads in trash cans didn't faze her because the victims had sinned against Islam.
So this is
Sideways. Why do I do this to myself?
my 6th marriage. I've been widowed 5 times. 6 times.
Jemima settles back into the British lifestyle. Severed heads. She said that the Manchester bombing, which killed and wounded dozens of children, was justified retaliation.
Some of the kids from Manchester.
Are you freaking serious? Yeah, it makes sense that they would laugh. they would probably laugh at the dirty kefir that just got blown up. They would be mocking the people lying on the ground, bleeding and dying. Just thinking about that makes me want to just take a chainsaw to my own nugget.
Who were killed in the Manchester arena. You must have heard about that attack. What did you think about that?
I didn't know about the kids, actually. And it's kind of retaliation, so I thought, okay, that is a fair...
Any explanation by rational, sane people to explain this crap, other than an ideology that kills more people than communism, is a lie.
Justification.
She said that ISIS-controlled Raqqa, where dissenters' heads are put on spikes, was a good place to live. She said she joined...
Damn it. Why are people so friggin' brainless at this day and age?
...and ISIS for a laugh.
Why did you do that? Funny.
And the left-wing media's universal reaction? Come on in. We need to show her compassion.
No! Screw her compassion. No compassion. No friggin' simpy.
New York Times. ISIS wives
A former newspaper, may I add?
seek redemption. For the past week plus, Begum and her entire family have been given a sympathetic platform to tell their sob story.
I am about ready to pop a blood vessel in my head. Let it go, John. Like a leaf on a stream.
I think a lot of people should have, like, sympathy towards me for everything I've been through.
Just, oh my god, just kill me.
You get more of a fair shake in the MSM if you literally joined ISIS than if you're a smirking teenager in a MAGA hat. The same media who wouldn't lift a finger to help Asia Bibi, a genuine refugee, a Pakistani Christian who was under imminent threat of being murdered by Islamists, can't shove a microphone in Shamima Begum's face quick enough to let her plead her case. Sees severed heads in bins, gets UK citizenship revoked. Shocked! Shamima, I'ma join ISIS, lol. UK government, no more citizenship. Shamima, what?
Shocked Pikachu! Seriously? No, I'm posed. No, I'm pausing this, boy. But, seriously. Just... Kojin! I hate you so much sometimes, man. Are you trying to make my faith in humanity lower than Kaede frickin' Akamatsu?
And of course it was just a harmless teenage mistake to join.
Harmless teenager mistake? Look. Alright. Okay. Serious question. in the chat. If you have any serious teenage mistakes, feel free to post them in the chat. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm gonna be right back. Alright, guys. Serious question.
Join an Islamic death cult that drowns people en masse and beheads children. Just a harmless mistake. We've all...
Harmless mistake. My ass. Yeah, I know Kojin. I know Kojin's lady problems. But what about you, Josh? Do you have any stupid mistakes you've done when you were a teen?
all been there. We've all done it. No.
You mean everyone with less than 2 neurons to rub together has done it?
Oh, a harmless teenage indiscretion is being caught smoking behind the bike shed. It's topping up your parents' spirits bottles with water. It's not travelling to a war-torn shithole to join the most barbaric, bloodthirsty, rapacious horde since the days of Genghis Khan.
And as a student of history, I know what that mad lad has done. That's fine. That's fine. If you don't want to talk about it here, I understand completely. I'm just wondering, that's all. That's not bad. Anyway, continuing.
It's not enthusiastically throwing your support behind a group that throws gay people off buildings and then waving your hand dismissively at the sight of decapitated heads in bins. That ain't it, Chief. But it's not just the British media prostrating itself as a platform for wannabe terrorists. ABC News says former...
Oh, that's why you set me at Kojin. I'm not gonna even dignify that last thing with a response. Now, it's like I said. Twitter is a lot like Walmart. Not everything is degenerate terrorist nonsense. But if that's what you're in the market for...
ISIS member Hoda Mathana is full of regret. She's begging to come home. Poor thing. It's also...
Oh, boo frickin' who? No frail snowflake. Well, hey, at least I'm not dating somebody who can turn your spine into a pile of bone dust in one ultra combo.
interesting to observe how the same Twitter mobs who habitually destroy people's lives for the most irrelevant minutiae suddenly come over all sympathetic and protective when it comes to literal ISIS terrorists. Wore a Chinese dress to prom. We must destroy this person's life completely. Willingly joined ISIS. We gotta hear this heartbreaking story.
Talk about double standards. Look, Jesus Christ. After this, I'm gonna do the ear cleanser, and then do the R-Truth crap, and then I'm gonna shut this thing down because I am about 5 seconds away from popping a blood vessel.
Everyone deserves a second chance. She was young and made a mistake.
Oh my...
Boycott his films. He should never work in Hollywood again.
You guys don't have empathy for that Bethnal Green girl because she doesn't look enough like a victim. Not trembling in the corner, not crying, not girlish, and most of all, not white. Your commitment to survivors is predicated on how much their victimhood appeals to you. It's ugly.
Oh my god. Oh. How much longer this ace there left?
Just a nice, normal girl from Bethnal Green. You only dislike her because she's brown. That whole part about her willingly joining a terror group that used machine guns to publicly slaughter 13-year-old boys for the crime of watching a soccer match.
Yeah. Is it any wonder why I have a hatred for these sandmoles? And for everything that isn't autistic or American? Yeah. It should stand as no surprise that, thanks to all this crap, I may have a few screws loose.
Just a harmless mistake. We've all done it. We've all been there.
I was in ISIS.
And after all, we have to support women.
Yeah, support women in the kitchen, that is. Ugh. Oh my god. One of these damn days I'm gonna just... jeez. Why do I even bother with all this?
Yeah, where was your sympathy for the Yazidi women who were burned alive for refusing to become sex slaves for Islamic jihadists? Where was your sympathy for the Syrian and Iraqi women who saw their husbands and sons beheaded because they adhered to the wrong branch of Islam? Where was your sympathy for the Kurdish women who suffered under brutal ISIS occupation? Left-wing Twitter says we should instantly forgive someone for joining ISIS. That 48-year-old John Wayne interview where he used a gay slur, though, dig up his long-dead corpse and make him apologise now. But I'm sure Begum is sincere when she says she wants to return to Britain and live in peace. And you can tell that sentiment is genuine by the name she chose to give her newborn baby. At the behest of her terrorist husband, she named him after a jihadi warlord infamous for massacring Jews and slaughtering infidels.
What the actual hell? Did any of you guys just hear that? Hold on. I need to pinch myself. I need to make sure I'm not dreaming here. Ow! Ow! Oh! 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 Okay, I am definitely not dreaming. Alright, I need to ask Mom something. Continuing.
So peaceful. So Shamima Begum is nothing to do with Bangladesh, despite being of Bangladeshi heritage and born to a Bangladeshi mother because she was born on British soil. Her baby that was born in Syria, though, oh, he's totally British. He's as British as fish and chips.
We call them fish and fries, you uncultured British swine. No offense to King. We cool. We cool.
Come on in. But don't worry, because if she is eventually allowed back in, authorities have promised us that she'll be spoken to. Meanwhile, British citizens get harsher treatment for criticising transgenderism on social media.
But no. No. We can't treat stuff like that as the degenerate beginnings to the fall of an empire that has been around for God knows how long.
But isn't it worth the risk of having her back? After all, you're not against diversity, are you? I mean,
Yes. Yes, I am. And to be honest, I don't even care if I'm called a racist or not.
let's just forget the fact that 3 times more British Muslims joined ISIS than joined the British Army.
Oh my god. Angry John noises.
I was told diversity was a strength.
Forget that. Oh, screw that dumb mantra. Diversity destroys nations. And anyone who proves me otherwise is part of the problem.
West Yorkshire Police certainly think so.
We only went and won. We are Diversity Champions of the Year 2019. Hashtag diversity, hashtag positive action.
I want to bloody die right now.
Islamic grooming gang paedophiles who operated for 7 years without being caught by West Yorkshire Police, who trafficked, raped and abused girls as young as 11, not so diverse. As Brendan O'Neill writes, the progressive elite sympathy offensive on behalf of Begum betrays the fact that they've wedded themselves to the multicultural mantra at any cost, even if that means literally welcoming back into the country ISIS militants and their supporters. She is cleverly exploiting a culture that she knows full well exists in modern Britain, writes O'Neill. A culture of reluctance when it comes to criticising hardcore Islamists too harshly, and a tendency to feel a cloying, racially tinged pity for any Muslim who falls in with bad people. Begum is tapping into and seeking to utilise the UK cultural elite's caginess about condemning Islamic extremism, and this is likely to reap benefits for her.
Too much of the coverage in...
Hey, you guys remember back during the Middle Ages when they had a crusade? Yeah, whatever happened to those anyway?
In my view, and even some of the chatter coming from politicians, has been overly sympathetic to her, as if she were a victim. The victims are the people who were massacred and butchered and enslaved and beheaded by the movement she joined, and, more importantly, by the movement she still apologises for, even though she's now a 19-year-old woman.
And yes, I understand the perspective of those who say it sets a dangerous precedent to give the government power to revoke someone's citizenship. But at the end of the day, Shamima Begum and her entire family can go fuck themselves. We made them.
Exactly. We don't need any of those wetback genetic sins against creation called Muslims in our Western Hemisphere. Take your place in the back seat. Shut up and know your role, you Quran-reading pieces of debris. And that's the bottom line, because the Lethal Sperg said so. You're welcome, Austin.
The mistake before of letting Islamic terrorists back into the country, and it didn't go so well. The Royal Navy rescued Salman Abedi from Libya and brought him back into the UK 3 years before he carried out the Manchester bombing. Let's not make that mistake again, because the cost is too horrific to even consider. And anyway, if Shamima Begum had wanted to be part of a radical extremist group that hates Jews and attacks anyone who disagrees with their warped ideology, she could have just joined the Labour Party.
Or the Democratic Socialists.
Please click the big red button to subscribe. It really helps me when you do that. And click the bell to allow notifications so you never miss a new video.
Well, now that screwing with the sand moles is over.
While modern cheat codes are now mostly locked behind a paywall, thank you EA, there was a point when these button combinations to godliness were commonplace. But what's lesser known in the world of gaming was from the late 80s to the early 90s, there was a bizarre underground craze from crafty codies to make these pokes as offensive as humanly possible. Now this was nearly entirely exclusive to the home computer world, mainly due to console manufacturers being far more restrictive in their policing. In fact, the only even remotely offensive cheat code I could find for a console game was for the PS1 game Destruction Derby 2, with its Max Harpoo code, which unlocked all tracks in the game. Yeah, you really showed Apple with that one, guys. Stick it to the man. But hello you, I'm Guru Larry, and I welcome you to Fact Hunt, Top 5 Offensive Cheat Codes.
Oh, brother. Why do I get the feeling this is going to end up cancer?
CJ the Elephant was Codemaster's short-lived attempt at a mascot other than a hard-boiled egg wearing punching gloves. But they decided to put all their efforts into creating the character and none into the game itself, as evident by the fact it's a complete and utter rip-off of the New Zealand story. However, we're not here to talk about plagiarism, as if I've not done that enough already in video topics. We're here to talk about rude cheat codes, and this one appears in the Commodore 64 version of the game. To receive infinite lives, either go to the title screen or the high score table and simply type in hairy arseholes. I'm none the wiser on if package
Really? Really? Really?
derms actually do have an overabundance of follicles around their sphincter because, you know, I'm not a vet. But apparently this code also works on the Amiga and ST versions of the game too. Though, I couldn't be bothered to check.
Oh, great, a Gradius ripoff.
Long before they had a license to print money with their Grand Theft Auto series. Actually, before they had a license to print money with their Lemmings series, come to think of it. DMA Design was trying their hands at the side-scrolling shoot-em-up genre, such as with Menace for the Atari ST, Amiga, Commodore 64 and PC. It seems a bit of a Marmite game for them, as scores were all over the place, ranging from 90% from ST Amiga format 49% from Zap 64. So you can see why they ended up essentially cloning Mr. Helly for their next shoot-em-up Blood Money. Anyhow, this cheat code, which will max out your supply of shields, cannons and lasers, works on both the Commodore 64 and Amiga versions of the game. And all you have to do is type in XR3i Turbo Nutter Bastard.
What the I think we're all missing a little bit of context here.
All while the game is being played. No pausing whatsoever. DMA obviously thought it would be funny for you to type in such a convoluted and rude message, all while playing a pretty tough game at the same time. Needless to say, even though the game did only ever sell 20,000 copies, with their further success, I bet they all eventually enjoyed those illustrious fuel-injected 80s Ford Escorts mentioned in the cheat. You deserve them, boys. By far the most offensive game on our list in its own right, Viz, the computer game, has nothing to do with the American manga publisher, but a well-loved British adult comedy comic. It's also renowned for influencing the sense of humour of a lot of British comedies and modern-day comedians. Don't ask me who, though. This is the internet, a place where you don't have to provide evidence of your claims for them to still be true. Anyhow, Probe, best known for developing all the Sega versions of Mortal Kombat 1, decided to use the comic's then three biggest characters, Biffa Bacon, Johnny Fartpants, and Buster Gonagd, and stick them in a racing game. It was a bit on the short side, but it was immensely fun, and one of the few examples of a non-vehicle-based racing game. But if it wasn't short enough, Probe decided to put in a rather rude cheat code that allowed you to skip levels. To activate it, all you need to do is go to the character select screen and type in, "What a large set of bollocks." Whether this is a reference to Buster Gonad and his unfeasibly large testicles, or the fact Probe didn't think the game was very good, we may never know. Until somebody asks one of the developers.
Yeah, I'm probably going to need an eye cleanser after this one.
The New Zealand Story, a game that keeps cropping up in Fact Hunt episodes. In fact, I even mentioned it earlier in this very same video. But I said it once, and I'll say it again. It was incredibly popular over here in the UK, and is pretty much regarded as the Super Mario 3 of British home computers for some reason. I guess Kiwis that resemble baby chickens just have universal appeal to 80s British schoolchildren. However, its overly cute persona didn't stop one of the naughty Cody Zatoshin from sneaking in a rather rude cheat code into the Amiga version of the game. To skip levels and receive infinite lives, simply go to the title screen and type in "motherfucking Kiwi bastards."
Oh my god. This stream's already reaching Infinity War lengths. Might as well go all the way.
You know, for a kid's game. Well, at least they were respectable enough to purposely misspell fucking. However, this only works for the full price retail version of the game. The code was obviously put in without Ocean's knowledge nor consent, as in the budget re-release of the New Zealand Story, the code was changed to the far more mundane, fluffy Kiwis, which I can't find anything even remotely funny to retort with. My only solace is that the motherfucking Kiwi Bastards version ended up being accidentally bundled for free with nearly every single Amiga A500 for over 5 years, much to Ocean's embarrassment. Now that's one gaming mistake you certainly never hear about. I have to make a note of that for a future Fact Hunt episode.
Oh my god. I think it's sad to say.
And as always, I've saved the best till last. And where else could I even possibly put the all-out king of offensive cheat code games? Team 17's original Alien Breed for the Commodore Amiga. A game with not just one, but an entire cornucopia of triggering tricks. For those of you who have never heard of this series, imagine Gauntlets meets Doom, with a heavy inspirational dose of the Aliens franchise, and you have yourself Alien Breed. I never really got on with it personally, mainly as all top-down shooters pretty much played like arse until the advent of twin sticks, but it did receive a cult following nonetheless. Now, like I said, there's quite a few cheat codes to this game, which are all performed by logging into the Intex computer on level 2, and they range from the humorous, such as typing in US Gold to reset your score to 0, a joke on how US Gold games are often given low scores by magazines, PC emulator to make all the computers useless in the game, ST emulator to give the game rubbish graphics, I've been on the courier game to make a farting noise whenever you fire your gun, and I can't be asked to play the first levels to skip to level 3. Then we have codes with swearing in them, such as "Give me power, you poxy fuckwit," to give player 1 50,000 credits. "Let me sponge some cash, you twat," to do the same for player 2. And "I eat pitbulls for fucking breakfast, mate," for 7 lives for player 1. Downright crude, entering "I wonder if Dolly Parton's fanny is as big as her tits" lets you skip to level 5. For those of you non-Anglophiles out there, fanny means vagina in the UK. And the good Lord said let there be flap shots, more British slang for vagina, which lets you skip to level 4. Blimey, governor, look at the size of his John Thomas. British slang for a penis this time, which awards you infinite energy for player 2. And finally, pass the bucko's knobface for infinite door keys for player 2. There's also politically offensive cheat codes, such as typing in Stevie Wonder makes the screen turn black, as, you know, he's blind. Salman Rushdie plays Alien Breed to make the player's sprites invisible. Salman Rushdie being the author of the Islamic offensive book The Satanic Verses, who went into hiding after a fatwa was placed on his head, which is still in place to this day. Ben Johnson trained these aliens to make the aliens lightning quick. Ben Johnson being the disgraced Canadian sprinter who had his Olympic medals and world records revoked for drug doping. And to skip to level 6, type in "Man United can't fly airplanes," which is a rather horrid reference to the 1958 Munich plane crash, which claimed the lives of 23 people, including 8 of their players. To finally, the all-out king of offensive codes for this game, to make aliens run away from you, type in "Aliens are faggots." And you know what? All these cheats were freely posted in magazines at the time. Every single one in this video, completely verbatim. And nobody cared. Not a single complaint was ever received. Of course, I'm judging these codes by today's sensibilities, but even back in 1991, these weren't exactly the most socially acceptable of phrases. Hello, you. Thanks for watching this episode. Fact Hunt is now back in full speed, so be sure to subscribe to see the next episode coming very soon. But in the meantime, have a butcher's at the old episodes, and if you're feeling super awesome, check out my Patreon to help support the show. Mistakes, eh? Everyone in the gaming industry is prone to errors at some point in their careers, whether it be miscalculating deadlines, releasing unfinished games, or just plain screwing up every single thing you have ever laid your hands on for the past 2 decades.
I'm looking at you, Fortnite!
So this episode is dedicated to the funniest of those mistakes, those laughable lapses, and those slapstick solecisms, all of which have mostly been forgotten. Well, until I came along and dug them all up again, that is. But hello you, I'm Guru Larry, and I welcome you to Fact Hunt. 5 hilariously idiotic gaming business mistakes. Should I add "you never know" at the end, or is that a bit too clickbaity? Mind-blowing. You gotta give credit to the Japanese and their whimsical style of video games. I mean, where else would you see a pretty decent shoot-'em-up starring a 19th century dragon-riding bunny girl who has to retrieve a giant stolen holy door key from a genius robot-inventing raccoon? So, to entice people to buy Kyo Flying Squadron's bizarre premise for its UK release, the publisher, JVC, teamed up with British Sega magazine Sega Pro to release a 1-level demo of the game as a cover disc. Now, demo discs were in their infancy on consoles at the time. CD-based systems were relatively new, so it was quite the luxury. But JVC either didn't know what they were doing in creating a demo, or just got lazy, as what they actually did was stick the entire game on the disc, but added a splash screen after the end of the first level to kick you back to the title screen. Sounds weird, but it's not out of the norm to have a bunch of inaccessible code on a disc. But the idiotic part of this story is they also left the game's level select cheat in the game. So anyone who knew this cheat essentially had a full price game for free. Well, the price of a cover disc. So JVC inadvertently put the full game of Kyo Flying Squadron on the demo disc instead of the actual demo.
Someone tells me a few people lost their jobs after this.
Needless to say, for some bizarre reason, Sega Pro never printed said code in any of the magazine's future cheat sections. But that didn't stop their rival publications printing it aplenty just to rub salt into the wound. But because of this blunder, and the fact the full game is quite the collector's item on the Mega CD now, the actual demo disc also goes for quite a pretty penny on eBay today. In fact, it's one of the most sought after demo discs in the whole of gaming.
Champions of Europe's up next. Oh, brother.
Let me ask you something.
Why?
How difficult do you think it could possibly be to screw up a football video game? Have stupid AI?
It's called soccer, you brainless tea drinker.
Clueless goalies? Well, TechMagic managed to screw it up even further than that when they released their kick-off knockoff Champions of Europe for the Sega Master System. Quite possibly the most incompetently programmed soccer game in history.
Thank you.
As pretty much any 3-year-old can tell you, the sole purpose of football is to simply score more goals than your opponent. There, that's it. Unfortunately, the programmers took this info literally and let you score points in either goal. That's right, you can win a match in Champions of Europe by simply kicking the ball into your own net. Obviously, this makes it easier to win as goalies in video games aren't programmed for the sporting equivalent of team killing. But if that wasn't bad enough, if there's been no goals at all and the scores are 0-0 by half time, you can quit out and it registers that you won. And even worse, if you finish a match with 0-0 in the tournament mode, it'll automatically put you into the final. Needless to say, TechMagic were either too stupid or couldn't care less about this abysmal bout of shoddy programming, as they never recalled nor revised the game. But that didn't stop Patrick McCarthy giving it 87% in issue 34 of Zero magazine, calling it an excellent game. Dickhead. Originally starting out as a movie license of the Halloween series, publisher Palace Software abandoned the idea after noticing a video game about a witch that collects pumpkins has absolutely bugger all to do with a man in a white mask who continuously hunts down Jamie Lee Curtis. But while Cauldron was a fun little excursion for Palace and a great game to boot, their focus was more on picking up movie licenses to develop games into, and none were bigger to them than The Evil Dead, a game they had previously developed for the Commodore 64 and BBC Micro the year before. You might remember me talking about it in one of my Halloween specials a few years back. It's an okay game, fun for 5 minutes, but it soon gets repetitive. But The Evil Dead was popular enough for Palace to want to wrangle a few more pennies out of the license by porting it to the ZX Spectrum as well. So, once completed, they sent both The Evil Dead and Cauldron off to the cassette duplication factory. You can probably see where this is going. For gamers who didn't grow up with tape-based games, cassettes were often temperamental buggers to handle, often failing for the most bizarre of reasons, from having the volume too loud, how hot it was that day, to just not feeling in the mood to load. So publishers would often stick the game on both sides of a tape as a kind of backup. That, or if you were just too lazy to rewind a bloody tape. Unfortunately, either the tape duplicators or Palace themselves had a bit of a brain fart that day, and instead of sticking another copy of Cauldron on the B side of the tape, they accidentally stuck The Evil Dead on it instead. So Palace accidentally stuck their unreleased AAA movie license on the B side of a budget game. Alright, Cauldron wasn't a budget game, but it was on the lower end of the full price game spectrum, £7.99. Of course, Palace Software didn't want to admit this error, so instead put a spin on it saying they wanted to distribute The Evil Dead to a wider audience, completely negating questions of why the other versions also didn't display this unannounced spate of generosity. Ironically, this boast ultimately shot them in the foot, as a lot of retailers refused to sell a game with a game adaptation of a video nasty on it, so the Spectrum version only received a limited release. Oh, the irony! Do you remember the days before Ubisoft were creating misogynists with half their faces missing and barely finished AAA games? Guru Larry remembers. But before we were all laughing at their general incompetence, the boys from Paris were aggravating us with their overly paranoid DRM of their PC games. And none was more prolific than their not really that tactical FPS Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas 2, created during Tom's not dead yet phase of game development. Now, their copy protection was simple enough. All you needed to do is have the disc in your DVD drive when booting a game up. It sounds pretty stupid in this day and age, but for the time, it was the easiest way of proving you owned a genuine copy. However, Ubisoft also released a digital copy on IGN's direct-to-drive of all places. Talk about backing the wrong horse. But since there was no physical disc to prove the copy was genuine, Ubisoft just negated that bit of code from the digital version. Sounds good so far, but Ubisoft then went full derp and completely forgot they had released a digital edition, when their first update patch permanently locked out anyone who didn't own a disc release, assuming it was a pirated copy. This in itself is stupid enough, but this isn't the most hilarious part of the story. Their copy protection was so good, Ubisoft couldn't actually undo it. No matter how hard they tried to repatch the game, they just couldn't remove the new DRM. Not even through a clean install with the original unpatched game. So, what was their solution to this mistake? They simply went on Game Copy World, downloaded a crack for Rainbow Six Vegas 2, and released that as the official patch.
Oh, God. I don't think my brain can take any more retardation, Josh.
Yep, Ubisoft's only solution to remove their own copy protection to Rainbow Six Vegas 2 was to give you the software needed to actually pirate the game in the first place. They didn't even bother to disguise the fact it was the original crack either. They left in the original coder's usernames in the code, and even the crack-tro bit tune you get with these programs is still there. Needless to say, Ubisoft went very quiet after this whole ordeal. They stopped encoding DRM into games and instead went for an all-new tactic to deter pirates by releasing future games as buggy pieces of shit instead. If you were a British gamer growing up in the 90s, undoubtedly you would have owned an action replay at some point in your life. Just like the game Genie, there were a cheat device that would give you infinite lives, skip levels, etc., and were immensely popular at the time. Heck, I personally like action replays so much, I even got a job as an artist doing the graphics and box art for them. Oh yes indeedy. But another egotistical insertion. As with all things, popularity doesn't last forever, and by the time the Dreamcast was released in the late 90s, the action replay's popularity had started to wane. So, with the ability to release such devices cheaply on CD, the action replay creators, Dyke, thought it'd be a great idea to team up with the biggest unofficial Dreamcast magazine in the UK, Future's DC UK, and offer a demo disc that gave you a small taster of what cheats it could do for games such as Crazy Taxi and Sonic Adventure. And thus, the Action Replay CDX demo was bundled with issue 11 of their magazine. Unfortunately for Sega, however, the Action Replay could do things other than just add cheats into games. You see, since this was an unlicensed product, the Action Replay had to use software to bypass the Dreamcast disc security checks in order for the player to then insert the chosen game to cheat on. So, if said player was a little on the unscrupulous side, they might choose to not typing any cheat codes at all and instead insert an imported game. Or even worse, a pirated game. Yup, Daytel did such a good job at knocking out Sega's security checks, the Action Replay CDX demo inadvertently created the entire piracy market for the Dreamcast. It was impossible to pirate games for the Dreamcast until Daytel accidentally discovered a back door, which, as you can guess, opened the floodgates. Of course, this was a huge embarrassment for all concerned. Future desperately tried to pull issues from the shelves, but word had gotten out by then, and gamers were snapping up multiple issues to sell at vastly inflated prices on eBay. Daytel did manage to remove the feature by the time the full version of the CDX was released, but by then, nobody gave a toss, as no one was prepared to pay £40 for a feature a £5 cover disc could do anyway. So the ability to play imported and pirated games mysteriously started to appear in later revisions of the CDX. Funny that. Ironically, Dreamcast sales actually increased after the CDX demo was released, which brought up new Coke-like conspiracy theories whether Sega had purposely let the CDX slip through, as they certainly never issued any legal threats to Daytel nor Future. So you can all thank that huge stack of burned Dreamcast CDRs in the corner of your wardrobe existing to Daytel for innocently wanting people to get a taste at cheating in video games, but accidentally opening up the doors of temptation to illegal free video games instead. Thanks, Daytel. Hello, you. Thanks again for watching it.
Alright, let's get into one last thing. R. Kelly charged in Cook County with aggravated criminal sexual assault and abuse. R&B singer R. Kelly was charged with multiple counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse in Cook County this morning. Aggravated criminal sexual abuse is a Class 2 felony punishable by 3 to 7 years. Cook County State Attorney the custody charges during a news conference earlier today. Following the release of the Lifetime documentary involving R. Kelly, once made a public plea anyone accusing Kelly to come forward. This week, 2 more women spoke out, accusing him of sexual misconduct after one of his concerts in Baltimore when they were 15 and 16 years old. Creepy porn lawyer Michael Avenatti, who represents whistleblowers and alleged victims in this case, said he handed over a VHS tape to Fox's office and claimed clearly shows Kelly having sex with a 14-year-old girl. This is now the second time the singer has been charged with a sex crime by Cook County prosecutors. He went on trial for child pornography charges back in 2008 and was not found guilty. Shortly after the news of Kelly charges broke, creepy porn lawyer tweeted, "It's over." He told CNN, he told WGN and by phone Friday that Kelly's first court date is expected at early lunch. Well, that just about settles it for tonight, everyone. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit the like button, share with your amigos, and subscribe and all that fun stuff. Tune in tomorrow at 10 o'clock when me and Nephil talk crap and Nephil Unsummoned. Oh man, I am just... Man, today just turned out to be a pretty rough episode. Still, it is what it is. Who am I to complain? If you enjoyed what you saw, hit the like button, share with your amigos, and subscribe and all that. And make sure to turn the notifications on so you know when I'm going to be streaming on Monday through Friday at 9 o'clock. This is your Lethal Sperg, John Peterson, telling you all to take it easy. Good night.